There's confusion over some political development in Taraba State. Mixed reactions have continued to trail the setting aside of a Supreme Court judgment of March 6, 2019 that disqualified former acting governor of Taraba State, Sani Danladi, from contesting the 2019 governorship election for false declaration of age in the document he presented to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Justice Simon Amobeda of the Federal High Court, Jalingo, nullified the ban in a ruling. Let's share the story filed by TVC News political correspondent Owolabi Adenusi.
In 2019, a 5-man panel of Supreme Court headed by Acting Chief Judge of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad, dismissed an appeal filed by the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC, Sani Abubakar, for being incompetent and failing to meet the requirements of the law. Senator Danladi, an APC governorship candidate, took the fight to the Supreme Court but failed to get the judgment overturned by the Apex Court. A twist of fate has now set him free. A high court sitting in Jalingo has just cleared him to contest future elections in the country. The judge held that the court has jurisdiction to set aside its earlier judgment, and by virtue of the plaintiff's affidavit, he can participate in any election, citing the case between Supreme Court versus Ngadi, INEC versus Okoro Ogwani, and Kogi State versus INEC. The ruling has generated reactions from lawyers and public commentators. A cross-section of people who spoke to TVC News shared their views on implications of the judgment.
Recently, of course, we had a judgment clearing Sani Abubakar Danladi that he is now eligible to contest an election. To us, as members of the society, it is a surprise for us to see that a Supreme Court will take a decision, affirm what was laid in the Court of Appeal and lower court respectively, for now to have said that they have cleared. This is a very serious matter. Will create a lot of confusion in the society.
The decision made by the Federal High Court, I think this is a kangaroo decision. It is a rape, an ambush to the justice system of Nigeria.
David Kashima, counsel to Senator Sani Danladi, describes the judgment as a victory for the rule of law, saying his client no longer has any encumbrances from participating in political activities in the country.
We had brought an application, filed a suit for Sani Danladi to have the orders of the court made in 2019 set aside. Certain members of the All Progressive Party in 2019 filed a suit against the candidature of Sani Danladi to contest the governorship of Taraba State under the platform of the All Progressive Congress. And the court made those orders, disqualifying him from contesting that election. Aggrieved by that decision, we came back to this court, which made those orders, to have those orders set aside. And his lordship, in his wisdom, in the ordered judgment just delivered by him, set aside that judgment and the orders made therein, that he was wrongly disqualified.
If the latest ruling goes unchallenged, the former acting governor of Taraba State is now a free man, free to contest elective positions.
All right, Jide, from the reaction I got from this story and from what I've read, this can be said to just be an academic exercise.
I don't, please, I'm just, in our country these days, maybe when the lawyers, when we ask our friends, because I'm extremely confused.
But the good news for me, BQ, is that the acting Chief Judge of Nigeria,
yes,
who gave this ruling, is now the Chief Judge of Nigeria. It's good news. And we know what has happened in the last few months.
The one who gave the judgment originally.
Yes. With the National Judicial Council querying some judges for, giving conflicting orders and all that.
Even out of jurisdiction. A judge sat in Kudu, Taraba State, and gave judgment on a matter that has to do with Anambra. Completely out of
one
his
in
jurisdiction.
Kaduna with others to do in rivers.
Yes. So and there was another one in Cross River, in respect of the former chairman of National Chairman of PDP. So in this case, you see, when things happen sometimes, the best thing to do is just to sit back and watch. Nothing strange, nothing really appears to me as too strange in our country anymore.
What?
Things happen.
Anything can happen.
You see, things happen. You just keep your mind calm and remind yourself that, look, you are in Nigeria. And funny things happen within the judiciary, and the chief judge will do well to descend heavily on people who are giving the judiciary a bad name. Where, for me, I'm shocked that a matter that got all the way to the Supreme Court, the moment it got to the Supreme Court, it has already stripped the lower court of any power that this lower court felt that it had on the matter. It had now become a Supreme Court matter. And when they are talking about the judgment, it is the judgment of the Supreme Court, which is the final court that people will talk about. The Supreme Court itself is never in the habit of revisiting a judgment that it has given.
Or reversing itself.
Justice Amina Ogie said it that day, when some senior lawyers who should know better took a matter before the Supreme Court, asking the Supreme Court
using the court process
to reverse itself. The woman said that, look, it is even not just illogical but unconstitutional for the Supreme Court to reverse itself. Now we see a lower court saying that it has jurisdiction
of turning
an earlier judgment
of the Supreme Court.
At the time, for the sake of Nigerians who need to know a lot more, at the time the Supreme Court gave its judgment, the elections had even taken place. The elections had taken place. The matter, they were the tribunal. The APC had to apply to the tribunal to allow it to substitute the candidate. So that in case it won at the level of the tribunal, that new candidate will be the one that will become governor. So to tell you that this is not a matter that is new, it went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court gave its judgment. Now,
we thought that would be.
I'm just confused. Honestly, I've seen many strange things happen within the judiciary. This one, in my view, is even worse than that judge sitting in Kudu and deciding an Anambra matter.
It's worse.
Sometimes you begin to look at it, say, is it that because you are not a lawyer? But when you now talk to your lawyer friends, and when they start analyzing these things, you see that, look, this thing is so embarrassing.
It's just we are in a strange country where anything can happen. Like some said at some point in this country, that some judges, they give judgments to get what they call retirement package. They already know that they are on the verge of leaving. So it is, I want to deliver this judgment. What is in it for me?
Whatever happens, I don't
Whatever
care.
happens
Damn
after
the consequence.
that, I don't care. And we've seen this happening, especially since our return to democracy. Even as a journalist, even as a layman, you see some things and you are amazed because you can't believe it. How will you, in those instances we just cited, sit in a far northern state and be making pronouncement on a matter in the southeast? A matter completely out of your jurisdiction, but somebody has run to you in order to stop a process that he knows is going to take place the following day.
Yes.
And wants to serve that judgment. It doesn't even sound right. I don't know.
Ex parte order.
It doesn't even sound right.
This
So,
one
and
is
in this case, like I said,
judgment.
it's a full judgment. Like I said, in this case, I'm so happy that it has happened the way it
Ex
is.
parte has an expired date.
Yes. It was the acting chief, it was the chief judge now that gave that judgment.
Okay. To solve this legal puzzle and legal whatever, a Lagos-based lawyer, Libros Oshoma, is on line with us. Libros. Barrister Oshoma, thank you for joining us.
Yes, I can hear you, Ayo. Yeah, good afternoon, Ayo. And,
yes.
You look really fresh.
Yes.
You look really fresh.
Yes, I'm sure you are doing this interview from...
You are doing well.
From his own Bagada office. From Oshoma and Co.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. I've visited this chamber.
Let's talk about this matter. You know, we are laymen. That's how you like to address us. We are laymen. We are really.
We don't understand this.
We are very perplexed.
Yes, I have listened to you people, and you people are spot on with what has happened. And Justice Kayode once described such scenarios that behind every allegation of bribery against a judge, there's a senior advocate who is a conveyor belt. I do not think that this judgment, would come empty-handed, because the judge also knows the implication of what he has done. I would, Otutoju gave example with the Berenikebi, the Anambra State issue, and the Supreme Court came down heavily on the judge in Berenikebi. I also would quickly draw your attention to what happened in Akwa Ibom. If you remember, Professor Peter Ogban, that was convicted by a judge in
electoral fraud
for compromise, for electoral fraud. Do you know that another judge, Justice Pius Idiong, in that same Ikotekpene, the same High Court granted bail pending appeal to that professor on the grounds that even though he admitted that the judge had the applicant had not met the requirement for granting bail pending appeal, which he listed, but he went ahead to say that because there's likelihood that the matter will delay at the Court of Appeal. So he already had the foresight. He went into the Court of Appeal docket and know that the matter will delay and granted bail pending appeal. So issues like that further ridicules the judiciary. And look at even that Berenikebi's case. Let me also tell you that the Berenikebi's case, it is lawyers also, because lawyers on the other side have gone to Ibadan at some point to get an order. So when the respondent then, who were applicants in Berenikebi, objected, they said no, being a national party, any applicant who will feel aggrieved, no matter where you are, can apply to court. So it was that same argument that the respondent in Ibadan now used against them when they became applicants in Berenikebi. And I must also tell you that the cases cited by the judge, those cases do not fall within the ambit of the discretion that the judge has exercised. He cited the cases of, I forgot the name, against INEC. In those cases, what transpired in those cases were the fact that INEC was the one that actually suspended those applicants. And the court ruled that INEC does not have such powers to disqualify. It was the case of disqualification by INEC. And the court ruled that INEC does not have powers to disqualify such candidates. But in this case, this applicant was actually disqualified by the court and such decision upheld by the Supreme Court. So, even the pronouncement of that judge, he went ahead to say that the decision of the Supreme Court, he made that pronouncement, especially in the judgment, that the Supreme Court, the decision of the Supreme Court had been nullified. The decision of the Supreme Court suspending the applicant had been nullified. Even elementary law students know that a high court does not have powers. A high court decision does not have powers to overrule the decision of the Supreme Court. A court of appeal, not to talk of a Supreme Court. And so that is why it becomes laughable that a judge of the Federal High Court will sit down and take a decision, nullifying a decision already, allowed by the Supreme Court. And I think, like Otutoju has said, this would be an opportunity where the NJC does not need to wait for a petition to be written. They do not need to wait for a petition to be written for the NJC to take a decisive decision against the judge.
No, wait for his general.
I want to thank you, Libros Oshoma, for that smart and fast clarification, because it would have left us.
we will have remained in our sea of confusion.
Even elementary law students, that a high court judgment cannot supersede that of Supreme Court. Sometimes this law thing.
You cannot set aside a high court judge cannot set aside the judgment of the Supreme Court.
Sometimes this law thing can be tiring. They will not tell you that it's really behind the law.
What did you say?
Thank you. I said the judge said he nullified
the Supreme Court
decision of the Supreme Court.
The judge.
For me, I've been wondering. I've been wondering.
All right.
Where is this? No. I'm sad though. I'm sad really.
No, any lawyer who values his week will be sad.
Honestly,
it will be sad.
Thank you, Libros. Thank you, Libros, for that clarification.
Yeah.
Maybe it's coochies that the judge maybe took.
This as we said, there is always a reason behind these actions. These actions don't just
it's not like Dosu said
by happenstance. These are deliberate. People
calculated.
set out to do it, know their reason. Somebody said, that Danladi asked for this, went before this court because he wanted to take over the structures of the APC in Taraba State. But as we have seen, even the congresses that they have had, they are going to have fresh congresses in that state.
All over.
So the battle, even if you want to take over
the entire process,
you don't. At the end of the day, the judiciary has been put to shame again. Put to shame again.
It's a big shame.
I doff my hat.
It's a big shame. No, I think let's wait for the NJC.
Oh no.
But like
they shouldn't wait for any petition though.
There should not, and
no, this is a
the NJC can even go out of its way to sit on this, especially because it's ridiculous. It shouldn't wait for his regular meeting.
The more they are destroying their own reputation, Nigerian lawyers, and foreign lawyers are coming in to do big deals in our country. They are getting big briefs from all these multinational corporations because nobody trusts them anymore. And it's because of things like this. You've turned the judiciary, the image of the judiciary, you've turned this on its head.
That's what Lebron said.
Put the judiciary to shame
you find
by this kind of thing that even an artisan cannot even contemplate what some of these judges are doing.
Dr. Oladipo, thank you for your contribution.
I thank you
in the last 120 minutes. Babajide Otoju, thank you for the last. It's an extended version of Journalist Hangout.